One of the key factors that you need in order for you to become successful is being guided, being mentored, and being directed in the right path in order for you to become successful. This is going to be done through advice. So throughout your career and over your life, you are going to be receiving advice from various people. People are going to be coming in your face, guiding you and providing you advice and recommending to you to take action A, action B, or action C, because when you do that, you become successful and come out of a specific situation, so you become successful at the end of the day. But what you need to understand is that advice is free, but it is not all advice that you have to follow. Let me tell you this. In my own life, over the last 10 years, I have followed less than 0.1% of all the advices that I've received in the last decade. What does that mean? It means 99.9% of the advices that I've received in the last decade have all not been utilized. In other words, I've just kept them somewhere because they don't apply to me. This is what you need to understand, because the fact that someone is giving you advice does not mean the advice is what you need to follow. Listen to me very carefully. You need to understand that when people are advising you, they advise you based on where they are coming from, their experience, their knowledge, and what they think is the right thing to do. And that is not evil, that is not bad, that is good, because that is where they can come from. Their understanding of the situation, their own experiences, what they have seen other people experience based on the same situation presented to them that they are recommending on, and that is what will guide them in providing you with advice. But you need to be careful, because your situation may be different from another person's situation. Your condition may be different from another person's condition. Even the one giving you the advices, personal life, way of life, upbringing will be different from yours. And so it is important that you situate the advice in your personal circumstance and find out whether the advice is applicable or not. Let me give you an example. One of the advice that people are going to be giving you is, hey, you need to make money, and when you want to make money, you need to have multiple sources of income. That's a great advice. You need to have multiple sources of income. That is great. But listen to me. If you start your life, you graduate from the university, your goal is not to have multiple sources of income, because you've not reached there. Having multiple sources of income requires 3 levels of building wealth, which is to make the money, to keep the money, and to multiply the money. So before you think about having multiple sources of income, you must first ask yourself, what income source can I get now that is rock solid, that I can rely on over the next 5-10 years. So yes, you are supposed to have multiple sources of income, but when you begin your career, your goal is not to be doing 15 things and be making 1 Ghana cedi from each of these 15 things. No, your goal is to be very good, very skillful, and very experienced in one specific thing. And that over a long period of time, the success from that specific thing, the finances from that specific thing, if you're able to keep it well, then you can now multiply it to enable you to make multiple sources of income. The reason is that you see young people, somebody from the university, have no experience, have nothing to show, and they say, oh, we want to make multiple sources of income. And so they are jumping from one thing to another. When they hear, oh, this is the new way to make money, then they jump on it. This is the new way to make money, they jump on it. You cannot become successful by jumping from one thing to another. So the advice of having multiple sources of income is not evil, it's not wrong, but you have to situate it and find out the situation of your life, your station of life, whether it actually applies to you and whether it is something you can do now. Another example is, hey, one thing that you can do is, if you get money, buy land. And especially in our part of the world, when we get money a little bit, people will say, hey, go buy land, build your own house. It is better to build your own house than to rent a house. It's a great advice. It's a wonderful advice. As a matter of fact, if you want to build wealth, real estate is one of the areas that you can use to build wealth. But you have to understand that, again, if you're starting out your career, buying a land will be a wrong decision to make. Why? Because you may not even have the money to build the house as much as you want. Instead, taking the money that you should have used to buy a land to upgrade your skills so that you can be promoted at your job or at your work and be able to make more money will be better in the medium term than using that money to buy a land. So think about this carefully. So you don't just jump on advice. All I want to tell you is this: advice is free, but the fact that somebody is advising you, the fact that somebody is recommending to you to do A, B, and C does not mean you have to do that. So that is what I want you to do. If you want to become successful, you cannot be jumping from one advice to the other. You have to receive all the advices. Listen attentively. Write it down if you have to write it down. But sit down. Look at your own situation. Think critically and ask yourself, will this thing help me? Will this thing assist me to achieve my goals? If it will, go forward. If it won't, then there is no need for you to follow that advice. This is what I want to share with you today about advices, taking into consideration the fact that it is free, but you have to be mindful, because the fact that you are receiving an advice does not mean you should go and implement that advice. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.